Hi everybody, thank you for attending this Zoom lecture. My name is Ian Perry, a professor at PIMA Medical Institute, and I'm going to be talking to you today about gender-based medicine. The differences between men, women, sex and gender, and sexual identities. Now that I've introduced myself, let's get somewhere a little more comfortable. Oh my God, where am I? I don't want to be here. That's better. The target audience for this lecture is going to be for rehab professionals, occupational therapists, physical therapists, and speech-language pathologists and their assistants. So let's start with the definitions. Sex, what is it? It's the structural differences between males and females, as well as the differences in their hormone levels. More on that later. Gender. Gender is the way that a person's culture defines what a man and woman should be. It's a cultural idea that explains what men should do versus what women should do, and oftentimes is taught to the children to keep them in their gender roles. The biological differences, as outlined by simplypsychology.org, is that men have XY chromosomes, while women have XX chromosomes. And there are some other variations, but we won't go into those today because they're very rare. The reproductive organs are another difference between men and women. Men have penises with gonads, and women have ovaries with vaginas and uteruses. The hormones are different between men and women. They both have estrogen and testosterone, but they're in different amounts and with different effects in different areas of their bodies. Men have a higher level of hemoglobin in their blood. Women have a rounder and wider pelvis, also at a different tilt so they can give childbirth. And the amount and locations of body hair differ between men and women. Some behavioral differences between men and women, as outlined in a study by Marco Del Gludis of the University of New Mexico, are: females excel in all aspects of effortful control. They have very much self-control. They demonstrate more indirect aggression rather than direct aggression. They exhibit a decrease in risk-taking behaviors with increased stress. And they have smaller social groups with unstable hierarchies and greater emphasis on emotional investment. Males, he tells us, excel in activity performance and socialization from a young age. They show more risk-taking behavior, which is increased by stress. They are more sensory-seeking, and they demonstrate more direct aggression. They also have larger social groups with stable hierarchies and less emotional investment. When it comes to treating a person whose gender identity is different than their gender at birth, rehab staff must dance a delicate dance. And while there are things like medication differences to be taken into consideration as well when it comes to biological gender, as a therapist, the most important consideration is to ensure respect and privacy of your patient's birth gender and their gender identity. It is nobody's business but theirs and whomever they choose to share it with. And we have privileged access to their medical records, which lets us know. We must also remember that there are certain differences between men and women and what they are capable of physically. For example, a biological woman's body would not build muscle the same way that a man's would. Differences in treating men and women may include that men appreciate a tough, directive approach, and they may require more explanation if they have a disagreement with you. Women may require a gentler, more loving approach. They may be more conservative with clinicians of the opposite gender, and they may not speak up if they have concerns in an effort to avoid conflict. New approaches that we can take to treat gender differences. While most companies have training videos outlining inclusivity and discrimination policies, few have implemented training programs or requirements on these issues. I think training presentations would be an effective way to improve gender-based medicine covering the following topics: the basics of male and female sexual characteristics and their behavioral effects, the effect of nature versus nurture on gender and gender identity, gender neutrality and preconceptions that come with gender, psychological needs of men versus those of women, and the importance of proper perinatal care regardless of sex and gender alignment. Thanks for watching this presentation, and once again, a big thanks to simplypsychology.com and Marco Del Glutis of the University of New Mexico in his article, Gender Differences in Personality and Social Behavior.